Hello, students, and welcome to another special episode of SlashU. On this week's episode, we did another interview with a special guest, Calvin Morie McCarthy. He was the writer-director of Party Massacre, and that's largely what we talked about, but he's also done a ton of other great stuff. And here's our interview with Calvin Morie McCarthy.
We are recording this, just so you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
I don't need you guys to misquote me or anything.
are you in Portland?
I'm technically in Vancouver, Washington, but yeah, Portland,
I, I,
Oregon.
I know I'm familiar with the area, so I know Vancouver as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Well, first off,
Closer to the airport than most people in Portland.
yeah.
That's good.
I'm an avid skateboarder, so Burnside was always a big hit.
Oh yeah.
But first thing I just want to say is I'm just fucking impressed. I mean, people can, as a writer myself, people bitch about creative, but I know you were born in 92. So making a feature film at 30, what, 1 years old, I think you were probably 30, 31. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
30. About 30.
It's like
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg was 24. So you're up there with Spielberg and shit. That's
Look
pretty
at
rad.
Right, just like Spielberg.
It's like
Exactly like Spielberg. Um, yeah, I've been working in the industry since I was 16. I mean, believe it or not, Portland, Oregon has a film scene. Believe it or not, there are agents here. There are some films that are shot here. There's some TV shows that are shot here. A lot of car commercials. So I've been working fairly consistently since I was a teenager, but just really got into making my own movies but fairly early on. I'm a huge horror movie fan. I mean,
Sure.
I collect dead media, big VHS collector. So I always wanted to make horror films, and there weren't a lot of those going on around here.
No,
So
Oh, yeah.
it's a good backdrop there if you got the
yeah,
forests and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I'm sure he mentions the car commercials because of the mountains, the Mount Hood
Yep.
and Baker,
right.
those up there where you can kind of get those like drone great shots of them coming around the corner.
Well, yeah, you can go about half an hour in any direction and get to a different landscape. You can get to, because Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon is desert. So we
Mhm.
have desert, we have the coast, we have mountains, we have a city. So
Nice.
Yeah,
a lot of car commercials are shot here.
there's some great wine out of Walla Walla up there in
Yep.
Washington. I don't get to enjoy that anymore, but
A lot of breweries.
oh
If
yeah,
you're if you're a beer fan, if you're an IPA fan, this is
Yeah.
the place to be.
I took a cruise out of Seattle years ago and stopped at a brewery uh, before we hit the water. Um,
Yeah.
Enjoy a good craft beer.
Yeah, a lot of good beer out here.
That's good. So, well, thank you for doing this, and thanks for
Yeah.
time to sit with us. And I listened back to the episode that we did, Nick, on Party Massacre, and we crapped on it pretty hard. So I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
We hope we're not rude. It's like
no, but it's not
like,
about
oh,
that. It's
man.
about
Uh,
I mean, I real quick I want to go ahead and state too is that I'm in the process. I have a film in post. It's a short film that I've done some screenwriting and I've won some awards and festivals just so and as a creative myself and writer, I have people, and it's like whatever, like again, I think in the whole thing that I think throughout the podcast, what I was more stoked on was like I liked a lot of the actors.
yeah.
Are you? And so, can I go ahead and lead into one
Go
question?
nuts. Yeah.
I was just curious, are you still close to the cast?
Yeah, totally. So we've made a lot of movies here. My company, Seventh Street Productions,
Yep.
we have a couple of producers who fund very low budget horror movies for us for VOD that are all distributed through Breaking Glass Pictures.
Mhm.
Breaking Glass Pictures didn't really have much of a horror line, so I had kind of a trial run with them early on by making really free movies for them and like for like $1,500, just kind of promising actors because I started as an actor, so I know all these people. I said, well, you know, the movie's going to get out, it's going to get seen, it's going to get a DVD release. There's not a lot going on in Portland, so let's all kind of do this stuff together. fast forward to now, I get really low budgets from some of these producers, but it's enough to make a movie. So a lot of these actors are people that I've worked with for a long time.
Mm.
And there is work in Portland, but there's not a lot of work in Portland. And there's a lot of pride in getting a paying job, even if it's like a low paying job.
Mhm.
And just for a movie to get out helps actors here a
Yeah,
lot.
I can see.
Just to be talked about. Um, so yeah, I'm really close with everyone actually. In 4 days, we're actually heading off to finish a low budget film, and Jax is in
Yeah.
that movie.
How's her rap career going?
She's good. She's down in LA and she's doing her thing. You got to understand for us, any press is good press. So,
Yeah.
I don't mind at all if people want to have fun with the movies. The way I always see it is, I don't know if you guys are sports fans, but it's like I'm in the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are in the crowd saying I'm the worst player on the team, but I'm in the
Yeah.
game. I've been
Yeah.
doing it for 4 years. This is my full-time job. So it's like, well, whatever.
Exactly. And
That's a
I
good way
mean,
to look at it.
it is. And like I still, I go back to, I don't always didn't like it when people said when I was young and people go, "Oh, Nick, when I was your age." I'm like, shut up. But still, like being, still in your early 30s and, having a name for yourself and still like I was on your Instagram. I know that you're working like on a Snow White kind of tale.
Yeah, yeah, we just wrapped that. That's not my movie, but I was hired as their production manager and as a camera operator because it was a multicam shoot.
Hmm.
And that was shot in Seattle. It's big, big budget. It was kind of crazy to get on that, but that kind of came from my resume. My just being I'm kind of like that low budget horror guy in town who
Sure.
can just get stuff done, and I know a little bit about the business, so I think that I don't know, I think I'm maybe seen a little bit as like a safe choice, that like my head's not gonna I'm not gonna freak out if something goes wrong. I'm probably like a calming voice to say, I made Pillow Party Massacre for $30,000. We're okay, guys. We'll get through this.
Wow.
Here's
I was
how
gonna
you can do it.
You're gonna ask how much it was.
I was out because I looked for that stuff too because we did Murder Cabin, and it's a short. It's probably like 40 minutes, probably about 35 minutes, and we with everything in, and we had good equipment because of Brian's job, but I
Yeah.
think 13,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't even, and I and I didn't pay the actors, so
No, you didn't.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta we have to we gotta pay everybody.
Yeah.
But it's you know, right now it's like fairly sustainable. I mean, hopefully, knock on wood, um, the budgets continue to go up, and either the producers we're working with continue to want to work with us, or there's there have been some conversations about other financiers maybe getting involved. But really, it's the most we've ever made a money for was, or the most we've ever made a movie for was 35,000, which is very hard to do. It's very, very
yeah, I
difficult.
mean, especially days going on. So one more follow-up, then I'm gonna let Andy go. Have you ever thought about moving to LA? Like, is
Yeah, I would, I kind of work all around. What what I'm fearful there is I basically jump into a new pond where I don't have the crew that I work with, people who
I dig it.
everybody can kind of feel it. We've done a few movies, we've had some kind of viral success with a couple of them. So everyone can kind of feel that it's leading somewhere. There have been more people kind of talking about potentially getting us more money or some other deals coming down the pipeline. So, everyone kind of wants to stick it out, and everybody's willing to do stuff for cheap right now just to keep it going. Um, So I don't know. I feel like if I ran off somewhere else, I would be starting back down at zero. And I feel like there's 100 people out there who can say they, made indie horror movies,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and these days, like you could you could shoot a movie anywhere. You know,
Right.
L.A. has it's Hollywood. That's showbiz, baby.
It's
It's
more
Hollywood.
expensive. You
Like,
can't,
yeah, you
you
can shoot
know,
anywhere. Yeah,
yeah. The nice thing about here is, I don't need a permit or anything like that. People don't make movies in rural Oregon or rural Washington.
right.
So when you kind of roll into town and you rent a place and you're going to make a movie and you call the local police department and say, "Hey, we're making a movie." They're excited about it. They don't, they don't know. They're not going to enforce, permit laws in
Yeah.
Yamhill, Oregon. They're just excited to have you out there. So there's that benefit to it too. And I've realized that when some of these movies come out or we turn them into acquisitions at the distributor, I forget that not everywhere looks like the Pacific Northwest, and we always get um, responses talking about how pretty it is around here. So,
Yeah. Bates
you
Hotel.
know,
That was
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
that was all filmed over there, man.
right.
right. Well,
Talking,
Longlegs, the new,
Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah, I just
that's
saw that. I just
that's
saw that in the theater.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
based in Oregon.
hey, and
So,
real quick too, we looked at Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie
That's
Vernon.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was filmed in
oh yeah,
Banks, Troutdale, that's
Trapdale, yeah.
yeah, in St. Helens. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
I am talking so much. I know you have a
Right.
few
You
questions.
guys are fellow creatives, so I wanted
Yeah.
we've touched on a lot of technical stuff, but I did want to talk a little more on the artsy fartsy side, like because I looked at some of the other stuff you've done, and there's a lot of the same actors. So what advantages come with using the a lot of the same cast, and then what kinds of challenges do you face when you're directing somebody to be potentially a vastly different character from one movie to the next?
Yeah, the advantages are just that we're a tight-knit group, and
Yep.
so much of this is just done obviously very low budget, very run and gun. It means the world to be tight with people. I mean, a lot of times we'll be like sharing rooms, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
We'll all be kind of like staying in the same couple of Airbnbs
Mhm.
together, as a big family. It's like summer camp. So an advantage is just right having an actor who is just down for the cause and they've been through it before. Actually, like the one of the cops in Pillow Party, Neil Green.
Yeah,
Yep. Look. Yep.
he's one of the guys who's been in a bunch of your stuff I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, he's just like down for it. So we just did a movie in February and it was called The Cult. It's going to be retitled by the distributor. All these films are retitled except for Pillow Party. That one was mine. But we had this like we rented out this duplex and we just had this like little duplex between the whole cast and crew of these two units basically. And if you go and you hire somebody else, you're running the risk of them not being happy or having like certain demands, or you don't know how well they're going to get along with everybody. So that's like one of the biggest advantages. And then the challenge, the getting them to play different characters is actually fun. I mean, being their friend and being an actor who will work on other projects with them, to me it's fun. I kind of find myself when writing a new script, like afterwards during casting, thinking, oh, this could be fun for Neil because he hasn't played this kind of character before. Um, and just yeah, just kind of listening to them also on other sets. Actors will routinely mention things like, "Man, I've always wanted to play a cowboy," you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. People will mention something like that, and you kind of go, "Oh, you know what? Comedy, yeah, Neil might be funny as the cop," you know. And
Yeah,
then
that was a. I
we
remember.
usually audition people and it's very much a family affair. So
Okay.
that's,
Yep.
I think it would be once more money comes in and more pressure to really broaden things out, I think there's a new set of challenges, which is like integrating people into our group, which is such a tight knit group at this point.
Sure. No, that makes sense. I think I get the idea that a lot of probably lower budget horror slashers, uh, friends making the movies, and
Yep.
everyone who has
Yeah.
a weird passion for it. Um, I wanted to talk specifically about Pillow Party Massacre. You played Parker, Sam,
Yes.
Sam's brother, and
Yes.
in my opinion, kind of a voice of reason in that movie. I just
Right.
watched it again yesterday to
Right. It's
fresh
the
my.
worst. It's the worst scene in the movie.
No,
You guys can keep the same
I
energy. I
I
don't,
think
I love these things. I always tell people, first off, I'm
well,
like, don't go easy on me, man.
No, I
I
mean,
just
but
It's
think
all
that
good.
but it is though. There,
yeah,
you got to find like in the sea of chaos,
yeah,
there are pearls that need
yeah,
to be found, and I
Right.
found some. And don't get me wrong, there I could tell like some special effects and post,
yeah.
some sound,
Well, yeah.
like maybe some CGI maybe,
Well,
but
Yeah.
the
That's
Parker
not me.
and but Andy brought up like a good point. We were talking about it. There is a voice of reason behind Parker.
yeah, because
Right.
obviously Sam's struggling with this, tragedy that happened at the beginning of the movie, and Parker is kind of like, why don't you just go be a piece of shit for the summer? And you're not. Everyone else grieves differently. Is there a reason that you played that part and not like Chris, the boyfriend, or some other, part?
Yeah, mostly because I am an older brother.
Okay,
And there's like certain aspects to this movie that I never really want to make like a big commentary on anything, but I do kind of just like leaving kind of an important, or not important, but a bit something that's relevant to society, right? Like a school shooting. Like I'm not making a comment. I'm certainly not making a commentary on it. I'm just kind of like leaving it
Yeah.
there as like this shit just kind of happens. Like it's all,
Yes.
just like this happens, and people do just like live through it like nothing. Just like, normal slasher movie, it's like, oh, someone gets murdered and everybody just lives with it. Well, same thing here. Or, a lot of my films, I kind of have a similar theme of like a family unit just kind of like disintegrating. It's kind of like terror in the suburbs, I guess, kind of a thing. But fuck, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, Parker.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I just there was part of me that just, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to play that role because I feel like that type of character in real life.
Okay.
There's some stuff in this movie that's like kind of like loosely based on just experience. All of my scripts have these very loose threads of things that I've experienced like within my own family. And um yeah, I also kind of wanted to sneak myself in there. I as an actor, I'm also
Alfred
like
Hitchcock.
watching. I just kind of watch people, when I direct, and I've been acting since I was 16. I know these people so well, so I just a lot of times after it takes, my only note is, oh, it looks fun. I kind of wish I was out there. I
Okay.
wish I was like in it with you guys, because it looks like everybody else is having so much fun. So
that's
there were
good.
a couple of reasons. And that's where some of the nonsensical lines come from. I kind of have uh, a thing where something from my past will stick out in my head, and it's like something that I had said during a moment that
Mhm.
doesn't always make sense. But I always like, I don't know, I always like when, I mean, people genuinely misspeak. I'm doing it right now and kind of just talk in a circle. And I know that in film it kind of comes across like I'm being nonsensical or didn't really give the script a second look. But certain lines in that are actual lines that I've heard someone say, or my sister has said, during like a big family brouhaha. So it's like, I don't know. I like to keep that stuff in there, even if it doesn't quite make sense. And it's like, what I don't know. I know what she means in the moment, but I kind of like that in the heat of passion, my sister will actually misspeak during an argument. So I kind of almost feel like keeping characters actually misspeaking is more
That
the
kind of
genuine
reality.
way to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm just
Art
trying to figure
imitates
out how to
life.
make a
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah.
it's a natural reality that happens in
Yeah.
conversation. So
Mhm.
That's good.
Slumber Part. I mean, Pillow Party Massacre is your biggest, probably your most successful on.
No, no. That's why I was really kind of happy that you guys did a podcast on it. Not at all. It's actually my least favorite. And
No, it's not the most successful though.
no, no, not at all.
Well, I was curious about it because obviously it's I mean through the poster, through the title. I mean we get back to the
Hmm.
classic Summer Party Massacre.
For
I mean
sure.
that's kind of
That was me pushing for, usually the distributor has more of a say on that stuff.
yeah.
But I was like, you got to trust me. We got to keep it Pillow Party Massacre, and we got to rip off the Slumber Party Massacre title.
Were you worried about any kind of pushback on not just from distributor, but
Nah, fuck no.
does that mean
But
This.
well,
they all
it's
they
not like he's got Mickey Mouse in between the legs,
Yeah,
where
I
Walt
suppose.
Disney would reach. I
right.
mean, but it is. I mean, it's because it's that idea of the setup, like revenge, just like like everything prom night. I know he did less.
Yeah,
Like something bad happens, and then later it comes back.
right.
2 years later, it comes back to get you. I mean, there's definitely a difference in it, and because I was just wondering, like, obviously you were a kid. I mean, you weren't even born in the 80s. What was like one of your first, like, I want to say Summer Party Massacre, but is there a slasher movie from the 80s that stands out to you?
Oh shit. Yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, even though I started watching horror movies at a really young age, my dad was just kind of like, "Oh, I don't give a shit," and would let me watch whatever I wanted. I was born looking back at all of this. So by the time I'm like 7, 8, and I'm really starting to rent these movies, Friday the 13th has already been a thing. So the ones that it's interesting because like the ones that stick out in my mind from when I was a kid are just mostly due to nostalgia. And Slumber Party Massacre is one of them. I think that I mean I'm almost positive that I rented that movie when I was 11 because it's like, oh, there's got to be nudity in this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Smart.
honestly,
Yeah.
I'm a really big Giallo fan, but yeah, if I had to pick just like a straight up slasher that really got me at a young age, honestly, Friday the 13th Part 8 is my favorite one. I love it. I
It takes
love being on the
Manhattan.
boat. Yeah,
Jason takes man. Oh man, we've talked. Sorry, that's a whole nother
yeah.
conversation. But
It's so
holy shit,
deliciously 80s and it's goofy,
the
you
music,
know.
rad. It is.
Yeah,
I can't believe that's so cool.
Yeah.
they're just like doing coke at like just so casually. I don't know. It's so bizarre, and I like to watch it and think that that's what the 80s must have actually been like.
Probably was to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to us a little bit, I guess, since you just said you were kind of born looking back at the decade prior, and you've obviously been through everything up till now. What are your opinions on how this genre is like evolved since the late 70s and 80s to what we're seeing now? And then do you have any idea what you think maybe where it's headed with stuff like AI and other,
Yeah.
effects and things like that? What are your thoughts about all that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm some of my favorite movies are like the classic Universal movies. I was really brought up on like classic sci-fi too.
Yeah.
My dad worked at a museum that had a lot of dinosaur exhibits. So as a kid, I was really like a Godzilla junkie and
Oh, sure.
50s sci-fi. And that just kind of turned into monster movies that turned into horror movies, really when I saw Night of the Living Dead. So,
Yeah.
I, you know, I'm optimistic. The what I'll say is one of the things that bothers me the most is people talking about or people coining elevated horror, like it wasn't already a thing. Like there haven't always been um, artistic beautiful slow burn horror movies. I mean, Halloween is a slow burn
Hmm.
horror movie that's a thinker.
Hmm.
It
And a violent
bugs,
nature. And a violent nature is a newer slow burn.
right,
Yeah.
right, or like Long Legs, but
Yeah.
people nowadays pretend that that all started with Hereditary, and that like,
Yeah.
oh, we have all these new artsy horror movies, and I go, there's always been artsy horror movies, and there's always been more, lowbrow horror movies. So I don't know. It kind of seems like, people people are concentrated a lot on like the landscape of it changing, but to me, it kind of seems like it's just always it's pretty much stayed the same. You just have, like a new subgenre that kind of comes into the public sphere, and then all of a sudden everyone says, "Oh, I want a horror movie in a different aspect ratio," and then everyone starts doing that.
Yeah. And the remakes.
Yeah, the found footage and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
They do a lot of
right, found footage, but
the remakes come out like that are, I still think it's crazy. They're gonna make a remake of a remake of a remake. But
mhm,
Yeah. Yeah, because we covered the original My Bloody Valentine, and we also covered
right,
the 2009, is it?
yeah, the only
Remake?
thing that really
Yeah.
does, the only thing, let's be honest, the only thing that gets better is the gore. I mean, they know they got
right.
it because
Effects and
of the
yeah.
effects. I mean, like we're big fans of I am practical effects. I know sometimes CGI has to be used, but
Likewise,
yeah,
yeah.
Adam Green is like the king, in my opinion, of you
With
know
Hatchet and all
Hatchet
that stuff.
series, and so
Yeah. Well,
uh
we started working with a new effects company. It's funny, some of our first films that got funded, we were working with a company called Raptor Effects Studios, and they were mainly doing stuff for free, but we were kind of their guinea pigs,
mm,
which worked right into my budget, honestly, because, there are some really good practical effects in some of our first couple of movies that we did with them. But then they started to get more and more interested in doing CG, and that's where you see in Pillow Party, which I think is the last time we worked with them.
Okay.
They really, they're like, hey, we're basically doing this for free, so there's going to be a certain number of CG shots that we're going to have one of our kind of new employees do. And at that point, beggars can't really be choosers. But I am much more of I'm not much more of, I am a practical effects fan, and I prefer to do only practical effects.
Mhm.
And this last movie that we did, we're working with a new effects team, and they did really good practical effects in the movie, which is great.
Oh,
yeah, I see a lot of your stuff, and that's what's like. I mean, looking at Beware the Boogeyman, which I know is available on
Yeah.
Tubi and Prime. So, in your opinion, like, what's the big one for what's the big one?
Well,
The
the
one that, I
big,
mean, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, the big one that made the most money, but it's not the best. Was a movie that was originally called Night Terrors, and then it was remarketed as Conjuring the Beyond because the
Yep.
new
See it.
Conjuring movie was coming out, and
Yeah.
that did real well. Um, so that one is probably, I think, well, it's most definitely our most successful. And so much so that they wanted us to basically do not a sequel, but just another titled film. So our last film, The Cult, is now being released as Conjuring the Cult.
mhm.
And those two are getting a Blu-ray release from Vinegar Syndrome in April. So it's getting like a boutique Blu-ray release. So that's, I mean,
Really
it's
rad. A
clearly,
vinyl, out a band
Yeah.
doing a vinyl.
yeah,
I
it's
like that.
it's it's clearly the most successful. And I mean, the new one that we did, I think, is probably my favorite, or the movie that was retitled Insidious Inferno. It
Yeah,
was
see
Door
that.
to the Inferno. That was one where some things really got messed up during production, but it was my favorite. I think it's my favorite of the movies, and it got a really nice write up in the New York Times too when it came out, which was crazy that the New York Times saw it. They did an article where it was like 5 indie movies to stream for Halloween, and we got picked for this article, which was insane. But that's probably, those are like the best ones, I think.
Yeah.
Pillow Party kind of got lost. It was always my least favorite. I'll tell you, I just wanted to make. I do a lot of like cosmic horror and ghost movies,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to make a slasher, and
Mhm.
had never made a slasher before. And I love the genre. I love, but that's kind of subgenre of horror is maybe one that I am like the least connected to feeling. So I don't know. I just wanted I wanted to do one.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just like petered out. It got some good reviews. I felt like people, slasher fans are usually the type who will take a chance on something, but
Totally.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I,
Who
I
knows?
I I agree because that's like what Andy and I do here at the U is we really don't we stay true to the slasher genre. Like we just did our first creature film with Don't Fuck in the Woods, so
Yeah,
that
that movie's great, isn't it?
yeah. Ohio's got a fucking great
Yeah.
scene too for like horror films. I mean, from the 80s
Yep.
to the Mama's Meat Pies or
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
to fuck Thanksgiving to
Yeah.
like I mean, and you talk about shit, but that movie
Yeah.
just because of the viral component. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm a like you, and I know I'm probably speaking for Andy. Like I'm a slasher fan,
Yeah.
and so that's why I have this thought. Me and you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna write it, you're gonna direct it, and it's gonna be the sequel, and it's gonna star Mike Lindell, and we're gonna make it like he's like putting all this shit together
Oh,
for Donald Trump. It's My Pillow Party Massacre.
oh, that's great.
And so Mike Lindell's like, I gotta raise money for Trump. So he runs
Yeah.
a warehouse and he's gonna have this big event to sell cheap fucking pillows. And everyone's invited, but things start getting nefarious around Mike Lindell. Wouldn't it be cool to fucking slash that fuck up? Like,
Yes.
for coming to my
That would
TED
be
talk.
great.
My
That's what I kept calling when we were talking about it, like my pillow, because I mean, I was inundated because he's right next door to us here in Minnesota. We're in Wisconsin.
Right.
yeah.
That fuck. But
Yeah.
I
Commercials all the time.
was like, I could definitely put a script together and I'll pass it on.
My Pillow Party Massacre.
and
Yeah.
I'll pass it on to Calvin and I'll be like, here, man, look, come on, we can make this happen.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, the whole movie, before I even had the title, I'll sometimes think about just like titles when I'm like out for a jog or something. But all I knew with that movie was I want to crush someone's head with a pillowcase full of rocks. And
Oh.
I wanted that to be the weapon throughout the whole movie. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, like working with the effects company, that wasn't going to be possible. There were certain things that they wanted to do because they were, doing it at such a cheap cost.
Okay.
But I wanted the weapon the whole time to be a pink pillowcase full of rocks.
Right.
So yeah, that would be fun. It would be fun to make a sequel and kind of write that ship a little bit too.
Did you ever think about like a legit sequel? I mean, Nick's crazy idea aside, did you think of
No, I don't. I don't know. If someone has money and they really want me to do a sequel, I'll do a sequel. But I don't think any of these movies are
Because
worth doing
we
a
thought
real follow up.
remember how we thought at the end where she drops the
Yeah.
coin on the ground and she goes and looks at the sunrise out there.
Yeah,
I was like, I thought she's gonna jump and kill herself. But
yeah. There were a
Yeah,
couple
I thought-
I
versions.
thought somebody was gonna pick up that coin.
I thought someone was
Yeah.
gonna pick up the coin and it was gonna be like, ooh, Pillow
yeah.
Party Massacre too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, because I mean, what a great like. So that's what like I remember sitting waiting like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Because I will
Yeah.
also say this, John Megason's character, Adam, I felt so bad for that dude. He was just like
Yeah,
to hang out because his boy Chris is upstairs getting banged,
yeah,
and everyone's a dick to him. I'm like, man, that sucks.
yeah,
Poor Adam. And I know
Yeah.
John's been in a lot of. I've seen him kind of pop into your stuff as well. So
Yeah, he was a nice guy who just
yeah, he
got
just got a nice guy, like
smoked a joint and
smoked a
got
joint, like
and
being
then
really
got
cool.
knifed to death. Yeah.
He's very much like that in real life.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, really chill, really funny. God, I don't know. You guys are in what,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have legal weed in Wisconsin yet?
No.
No,
No.
but
Oh,
Surrounded.
okay.
But we're
Oh.
it's because we have
We
this.
were like the first state, so
Yeah, we have this thing called the Tavern League, and they protect bar owners. It's kind of like the mafia for bar owners over here.
right.
Yeah.
So they say like, well, if people smoke weed, they're not going to come to bars, and bars are a big fixture here in Wisconsin. So we have Illinois, the Michigan,
Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah.
fucking everyone. Illinois, I mean, fuck.
Everyone around us.
But the beer league, the Tavern League doesn't want it to go.
Yeah.
But still, it's a.
But yeah, that's very much the way a lot of people in the art community are here, where it's like we'll rap for the night and everybody just kind of like we're all staying together anyway, so everyone just sits around and smokes a joint. So that character is very much John in real life.
That's
Just
awesome.
this very
That's so rad.
chill,
Yeah.
like
Well,
all right, yeah, I'll go smoke a joint. I don't think I've ever seen him upset before.
I got this though.
I don't know that we want to. Yeah. Do we need to?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're talking about weed. I like to. I'm a botanist, so I grow. So I was going to show you something.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a grower,
I
so
don't think we can
Yeah.
put this.
I'm a grower. I'm a grower, but I guess I can't be a shower.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is really cool. I like that you guys are watching indie films and reviewing them, because that's, I mean, more than anything what people like me and other indie filmmakers need is someone to shout out their stuff. The only thing I would say is I would be careful at the fact that not everyone might have the best attitude towards it. So because we're looking for people to talk about our films, and for me, I love it. Like I like the bad reviews. I always kind of wish that people would like bring me on and kind of like give it to me. But actors especially are always looking for stuff. So, I would just say be careful. Be careful, especially with women. I wouldn't talk about their look, because I know that certain people want to like share it. And it's like, oh, look at this. I showed everyone this. And it's like, oh, this is great. This is hilarious. And they're like, is Daniel going to be pissed if we post this? Because they like made fun of the way Daniel looks. So it's like, that would be the only thing I would say with like some of the actors, because they want to be on your side. They want to like share in it with you. And like,
Right.
And so do I. Like, I love when people make fun of our stuff, but then I'm like, oh, fuck. If
But we
someone
always, I mean, like that said, but we always do tell everyone to watch the movie. I mean, it's the thing, like we
Even if
always
we
say,
didn't like it.
yeah, I mean, it's like,
Still go
right.
said it, man. I mean, the people that
Oh,
follow,
yeah.
I mean, they want the truth. I mean, they're
For sure. No.
small podcast, but
I think make
but I
fun
hear
of
what
the
you're saying.
movie. You
I
make
hear
fun
what
of the
you're-
movie all day. It's just like making fun of someone's looks is always like, oh man, it's like make fun of me all you want, make fun of the movie.
I guess we're
But,
saying like a Dollar General, something like that.
Oh, I remember what we said.
yeah, I think you called him Aaron Rodgers with Down syndrome.
Oh,
It's like, fuck, dude. All right.
Which
I don't
is
know if I can like
redundant.
promote. I would have promoted the episode so much more if it wasn't that. And then I think something else about like Jax. And I was like, oh fuck, now I can't post this.
Yeah.
Because like I want to be like, this is fucking hilarious. Look at them making fun of us, but I didn't
no,
want to.
I dig it. I
At the
dig it.
end
But
of the
I
day,
have to.
At the end of the day, we remember like what we're watching.
Right.
Watching's not going to win Oscars and things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know that also,
Yeah.
like, we're not like as much as we're not a Joe Rogan podcast.
No, we're
he's
a
even
couple
worse.
We're a couple of rounds in a base.
We're in a basement right now.
Well, yeah.
I
No,
mean,
and people.
I've got two blow up dolls hanging
Yeah.
from a wall right here, and a
Yeah.
shark mask right behind me.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. But we the only thing we want to do is I think what our fans like is all
Right.
6 of them. They really enjoy like I guess because Andy's the voice of reason. I'm kind
Right.
of a little bit. I get a little out there.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm even more out there, especially since I quit drinking. So now I'm just like.
Now he's out there and he's
Oh yeah.
yeah, he just knows what he's saying now. So,
No, yeah.
no.
No, I think it's hilarious. I love when people make fun of the movie. I'm always like sharing them, even when people are like really like almost trying to like destroy your soul. I think they're hilarious. So I don't mind at all when people make fun of the movie, and I know that nobody else does either, especially the actors. They're like, I was just like in this movie. I didn't write it. I think the only time is like because I have seen a couple of times where it's like, oh, I want to share this, but if they like make fun of the way someone looks, I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, are my friends gonna be like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Why would you share that?
Avoid personal attacks.
Yeah, right.
That's a good
That's
idea.
that's the only
I
way.
mean, the
You
way I
guys,
look at it, though, I'm looking at it the actor, and I got to realize that
yeah,
the actors, well, that's how they look in real life. But I'm like, does it? I mean, I've seen actors look totally
right.
different in real
Yeah,
life.
that's
So,
true.
I mean, you can
Well,
make someone. I mean, Chris comes on screen, and I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm just kind of going with it. If I met the guy, I wouldn't be like, hey,
Probably a super nice.
probably a
yeah,
good looking guy,
yeah,
probably a really good looking guy too. And I'm sitting here
yeah,
going, but I'm not. I'm just kind of going with it, just to like
Like
go with
Mr.
it.
Clean on meth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
Like, yeah, I mean,
right.
like, I don't, and see, that's the thing. I mean, people, and I guess you do, like you said, you have to have that, mindset to where if someone did, I mean, like, I'm a 50-year-old skateboarder that thinks I'm fucking, that does a podcast with my buddy in a basement,
Right.
what am I, 12? So, I mean,
No, and yeah, no one ever says anything, but yeah, if you ever want, like, that's the only reason I didn't like share the podcast more, because it's
Sure.
like, fuck, I want to share this episode so bad, but I just don't want Daniel or Jax to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, you could tell them, we don't mean it. We're just a couple idiots.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything right now, like what you want to plug? Anything? Talk about projects, what you're working on, what you're excited to work on in a year, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully there's a couple of things coming up in the future. Like I said, Conjuring the Beyond and Conjuring the Cold is going to get a Blu-ray release.
that's right.
I just finished working on The Death of Snow White with a bunch of people from
Yeah.
my team. We kind of came in and worked on that. We're doing a follow-up, a really cheap follow-up, sort of ish to Beware the Boogeyman, because I think that might also be getting a Blu-ray release, like a dual pack Blu-ray release.
Okay.
So we're actually about to go shoot that, but then hopefully this, I'm trying to find I'm trying to either go through the same producers or just kind of like put the bug out there in the ether to see if anyone is interested. But I really want to make a Lizzie Borden slasher film. I don't know why I'm stuck on that idea. I wrote a script for it, a draft for it. And then hopefully there are just a couple of other pictures coming down the pipeline, but nothing huge. I really just I wanted to come on the show. I'm so glad that you guys brought me on the show. Anytime I see reviews, I'm like, oh man, get me on. I want
It's
to.
really awesome that you were interested.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you so
Tomorrow,
much.
we get to talk to, I don't know if you heard of this. There's a really good scene. And we know Texas has a really good scene as well.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they embraced one of our
Episode.
one of our episodes, one of our quotes, and put it on their social media page. But it's a movie called Sweatshop, 2012, 2009. Thank
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
it's a very, very low budget, but there's a killer on there called the Beast. And
Yeah. The guy who
it,
played the killer
yeah,
reached out to us on
Oh,
Facebook.
awesome.
He was
and
like, I
it,
was
I
in
mean,
that movie.
like seriously, this is like I think I said in the thing, like this is what guys and girls who read or guys who read Fangoria, this is like what they would pleasure themselves to.
Yeah.
It
gory.
it is the goriest shit. I mean, I even said this would make Adam Green blush.
Yeah.
Like it is.
Some nasty
So
shit.
I would recommend, if you're ever into that,
Yeah.
it's a good sweatshop. I mean, and again, we railed on it, but I mean, the only thing that caught our attention, of course, was the kills
Yeah.
and Beast's outfit. He dressed like a pimp with a welder's mask. So
Yeah,
yeah,
big welder's mask.
and I mean, he does the effects like it is. So yeah, that would be a SlashU recommendation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm glad you guys are getting like more and more people. Yeah, like I said, like people, especially with indie films, are always like they're always looking for it. Like, is anyone talking? Did anything ever fucking happen with this movie? And yeah, that's really cool. I imagine you guys will get more and more as time goes on. I've been on a couple of podcasts because they've reviewed a movie of mine, and it seems like yeah, going that indie route will like kind of build this like grassroots for something for what you
Yeah,
guys are
thanks.
doing.
We're doing our first horror con
yeah, there's a
here.
convention.
Oh, really?
Peoria, Illinois, called Horror Fiesta, and we have a booth.
Yeah.
In September.
Yeah, the drummer from Black Sabbath is going to be there.
Yep, I think the actress from
She-Hulk.
The actress from She-Hulk
gonna be there.
The helicopter driver from CSI Miami, episode 14.
Other random.
It's really not that big, but we just want to start trying to get the mix. And also, please send DM me your address, because we just got a new batch of some rad merch.
Oh, sick! Yeah,
large.
I was gonna say you guys ought to think about doing Crypticon Seattle. We do that every year. Actually, Pillow Party won Crypticon Seattle.
Oh,
but
real quick, I forgot to tell you. I noticed at Macabre Maddie, I wrote until Murder Cabin took over my the movie. I was writing for Macabre Daily.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I know Dana, and just through virtually, you know, and like they interviewed me for Murder Cabin, and so I noticed that they follow. So the Crypticon made me reminded, because I know Dana was doing some reporting for that.
Yeah, we've they've reviewed a couple of our movies, but yeah, you ought to think about going to Crypticon Seattle.
Yeah,
I wonder how much. It only costs us $75 to get 3 tables. I bet there it's like $100 a table.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, it's probably more like $100 a table.
Yeah,
I guess the flight to Seattle would be a little spendy.
We'll make it a
road trip.
Make it a SlashU,
make it a story.
SlashU field trip. So
yeah, that would be.
It's a fun horror con.
Nice.
And there's always some good guests. Actually, sometimes we'll get like little name people, and it's usually people that we find at Crypticon. You know, they're like signing autographs, and it's like, hey, Eileen Dietz, what are you doing? You want to be in a movie?
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good to know. Well, we were gonna wrap up a little bit. Is there any you want to plug any social media you want us to talk about or plug for you?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me or 7th Street Productions on Facebook, Instagram. You can visit our website, 7thstreetfilms.com. Send us an email or shoot us a message. You know, we always respond to everybody. You know, we're trying to get a couple of more projects going and seeing what kind of options we have out there. So we're always open to collaborations or suggestions, you know, as far as people who want to get involved with making the movie, whether that's, you know, helping to produce or, you know, supplies and stuff. So yeah, you know, you can find us basically anywhere. We're pretty easy to find. So shoot us an email.
Will do. Thank you very much. We'll probably,
thank you.
We'll probably, you know, I'll edit this down and stuff, and we'll have it as an episode in the near future, I suppose.
A full episode. Yeah.
We'll just use this. SlashU, and
then you can. Then I think this is one you could promote, because then we admit that we're idiots.
There we go.
We'll put it on our YouTube channel too, because so far it's just been audio only on YouTube. So
hooked us up on Reddit, and I feel like that's kind of going too. So we're trying moves.
They talk about so many movies that we watched on Reddit.
So many.
I know.
So I'm gonna get involved in those conversations.
But we'll definitely keep you in the mix, and definitely let you know what's going on. Thank you so much, brother. It was great.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
Keep up the good work, man.
Yeah. Next time we got a movie coming out, I'll probably have to bug you guys and be like, shout it out or something. Get me some.
For sure.
Give me some more 100% promotion.
Be happy to.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Have a good weekend.
All right. Take it easy.
You too. Bye now.